Welcome back to the Stateless Standard, where we torch the myths of statism and cronyism with the light of liberty. I'm your digital host, diving into the shadowy alliances that shape our so-called free market. Today, we're unpacking how corporate America veered left, not out of some noble quest for equality, but through a cynical tango with government power. Buckle up, boys and girls. This one's a history lesson laced with irony. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We expose the powerful preying on the people, one video at a time. Let's rewind to 1924. Picture this: King Camp Gillette, the guy who revolutionized shaving with disposable razor blades, teams up with Upton Sinclair, the muckraking journalist behind The Jungle. You know, the book that exposed the horrors of meatpacking and sparked the pure foods movement. They're not just chatting over coffee. They're co-authoring a book to pitch Gillette's grand vision. This wasn't some side hustle. Gillette had been peddling this idea since his 1894 book, The Human Drift. What was the big idea? A socialist utopia engineered through a massive corporation. Yeah, you heard that right. Gillette dreamed of a vertically integrated behemoth controlling everything from raw materials extraction to consumer delivery, all while enforcing wealth equality and uniform working conditions. Essentially central planning on steroids, courtesy of monopoly privileges granted by the state. Because nothing says workers' paradise like a giant corp with government exclusivity. Cynical? Absolutely. It's the blueprint for turning free enterprise into a tool for control. But hold on, Murray Rothbard, that sharp-minded Austrian economist and libertarian firebrand, called bullshit on this. First off, he argued that huge corporations face the same calculation problems as bloated governments. You can't centrally plan an economy efficiently, no matter if it's run by bureaucrats or boardrooms. Rothbard also shredded Gillette's view of corporations themselves. Gillette, echoing Walter Lippmann's The Good Society, saw Corp as government-granted privileges for producing public goods. But Rothbard? He viewed them as just free associations of folks pooling capital. No special sauce from the state required. This clash mirrors the two big theories of corporations that dominated 19th century law. And boy, have things evolved, or devolved depending on your cynicism meter. Post-American Revolution, states started chartering corporations like they were handing out candy, mostly for transport and finance gigs like turnpikes, canals, banks, and later railroads. Manufacturing and mining jumped on board too. Back then, the grant theory ruled. Corps were seen as state agents providing public services, needing monopoly perks to attract capital. Classic mercantilism, protectionism dressed up as progress. Legislatures approved charters like laws and could yank them anytime. They were regulated tighter than a miser's purse. Enter Chief Justice John Marshall in 1819's Dartmouth College v. Woodward. New Hampshire tried to revoke Dartmouth's royal charter from King George III. Marshall ruled charters were unbreakable contracts. It loosened state grip a bit, but still enshrined the grant theory. Cynically, it protected entrenched interests while pretending to uphold contracts. Then came the Jacksonian era. 1820s democratic populism. Suffrage exploded, ditching property requirements. Sure, race and gender barriers lingered, but dropping class hurdles? Revolutionary. Andrew Jackson rides in on this wave, elected in 1828, sparking reforms against elite privileges. Jacksonians targeted corporate monopolies head-on. America already had more corp than anywhere else, but they were privilege machines. The fix? Another American innovation: general incorporation laws. New York kicked it off for manufacturing in 1811, but Jacksonians supercharged it. No more begging legislatures for special charters that bred cronyism and corruption. Now, anyone could incorporate by filing paperwork. Radical stuff. Today we take it for granted, even doing it online. This spread unevenly at first. Early laws were restrictive, but states competed for business, liberalizing rules to keep capital from fleeing. Jacksonians fueled this with anti-monopoly rhetoric, extending it to banks via free banking. By the 1870s, general laws were way more accessible, and many states banned special charters outright. Boom. Corporations democratized and privatized. This shift birthed Rothbard's association theory, Corps as voluntary partnerships of investors. In 1886's Santa Clara County v. Southern Pacific Railroad, the Supreme Court deemed Corps persons under the 14th Amendment. Rights derived from individuals, not state whims. Ironic twist, Southern Pacific was a federally subsidized railroad, not a pure market player. Cynicism alert, personhood, shielded crony capitalists. This doctrine greased the wheels for New Jersey's 1880s laws allowing holding companies, corps owning other corp stock. Cue the merger mania. Companies formed trusts to fix prices, stifle competition, and halt falling prices from real rivalry. But voluntary combos lacked enforcement teeth. So bigwigs turned back to government, craving mercantilist perks like privileges and trade regs. Back to square one, folks. Fast forward to 1933. Adolph Burley and Gardner Means dropped the modern corporation and private property. They spotlight how execs wielded massive influence over dispersed shareholders' wealth. This sparked studies assuming corp leaders were libertarian diehards fighting regulation tooth and nail. True for small biz? Maybe. But big business? Nah, they're often in bed with the state. The progressive narrative? Greedy tycoons versus heroic reformers taming corporate excess. But revisionists like Rothbard and Gabriel Kolko flipped the script. Big business and progressives were allies. Progressives weren't anti-corp. They were corporatists, seeing mega firms as antidotes to cutthroat competition and individualism. Execs loved federal regs to crush smaller rivals. First stab at revival. Federal incorporation law to override state competition. Titans like Rockefeller and Hill backed it. Failed? Pivot to agencies like the FTC. Peaked in FDR's New Deal. National Industrial Recovery Act let industry giants fix prices and regs in DC, enforced on minnows. SCOTUS struck it down, but the crony spirit lives on. Today's DC lobbyist swarm proves it. Historians peddle the myth of laissez-faire core, battling heroic progressives. Books like Kim Phillips Fine's Invisible Hands focus on intellectuals like Buckley, Rand, Hayek, and Mises. Calling Mises econ political texts? Please, that's lazy. Leftist academics echo chambers, ignoring evidence. Truth, Berlin Means were right about concentrated power, but it pushes for regulation, not against. See big tech backing net neutrality, or hedge funds whining for stock market intervention post-GameStop saga. Patrick Newman asks if we're in a new progressive era. I'd say the old one never ended. It's the eternal dance of statists and corporatists screwing the stateless folk. So there you have it, the leftward lurch of corporate America. Not from idealism, but crony calculus. If this cynically educational dive lit a fire under you, like, share, and subscribe to the Stateless Standard. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is big business the state's best friend? Until next time, keep that torch burning against the powerful. Peace out.